think we are live. Hold on. Getting some technical issues here. Let's see. There we go. All right, we are live. Facebook and Instagram live. Welcome to Guardians Fireside Chat. And I'm Instructor Jay, and I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of explain, do some Mindset Monday. A big part of what we believe in is that mindset. The pistol, the rifle, the knife, whatever the case may be, is just the tool. That's really it. Everything else is just so again, their mind is the weapon, and everything else is just a tool. Thanks for joining me, everyone. So what I wanted to do is talk about the color codes of awareness. So the color codes of awareness that we teach in our concealed carry class is developed from Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper of Gunsight, formerly American Pistol Institute, and then also add some teachings from Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. And what this is kind of how we break down awareness and how we go from like a very relaxed to a very alert and ready to go, ready for action state. And so it's tailored, and I'll do the best I can. It may show up backwards, so I'll do the best I can, showing you everything, but I'm just going to go over the colors. So how we break down everything is in colors. So the first one we always start with is white, condition white. I'm sure it's backwards. Yeah, it is. It is backwards, of course. So condition white, and then we go to condition yellow. After condition yellow, we go to condition orange. And we write yellow in so everybody can see it. You can see it a little bit better with that. Then condition orange. And after that, we go to condition red. And then, the last but not least, condition black. Okay. So how will these kind of work out? And we'll start from the top and go down to the bottom. So condition white is you are completely unaware of your surroundings. You're completely unaware of what's going on, who's coming, who's going, and what the world is around you. So the aspect of that is, what we, again, that color of white, we call these sheep. These are people that are completely unaware, and you can definitely tell who they are. They're the people that are looking at their cell phones and they're Instagramming or Facebooking while they're walking, or they're Candy Crushing or Pokemon going, and they run into light poles, or they're trying to text and drive and they're not being aware of their surroundings and they crash in the car in front of them. So again, this is completely unaware of who's coming and going and what your surroundings are. So if you're going to carry a firearm or be that kind of that guardian, as we say at that next step, this is not a world you want to live in as you're out and about. Okay, but understand that condition white is a thing. And can Josh or Karen be in that white? Absolutely. There are times and places I have to be in condition white. I have to be able to shut it down. If I'm locked in my home and I have those concentric rings of security, and we've talked about that, that's the beginning of my security plan. My home defense plan is that ring of security, from security systems to windows, doors, locks, security systems, and then finally, like our dog. It's a great early warning system. So if something is penetrated, and something as innocuous as the mailman, or nefarious as a home invader, I have all those early warning systems in place that I can find that I can detect that, and then go through my awareness levels. But what is important is the fact that I can be in condition white because I have all that integrated into my plan. Now, when I'm out and about, and whether I'm carrying a firearm or not, or just having that mindset, where we start off at is yellow. So when we leave our home and we leave our castle, That's where we need to be, is at that condition yellow. So condition yellow is a relaxed yet aware state. So I can tell who's coming, who's going. I can see my exit strategies, the what if then games. What if somebody comes in and starts shooting the place, or what if somebody comes in and robs the place, or what if I'm at a gas pump and somebody attacks me, or what if I'm at the intersection and the homeless person that's begging for money decides to attack me or try to carjack me. All of these things can play in effect. So that's where you should live in yellow in that regard. So again, when I leave the home, that's where I start, and then I progress from there. So the next step would be is, say for example, we're at the intersection, and you see the homeless person with their sign, and they're walking up and down, and they start approaching your vehicle, and they look at you, they look at you, and they beeline towards you. That's when you step up the game, and now you're in condition orange, because now you see a specific threat. So before yellow, you're scanning for threats, potential threats, or just whoever's coming and going. And then the next step is, okay, that guy's making a beeline towards my car. You've already done the what if then games at condition yellow. And then the next step is, okay, now I see the specific threat. What are they doing? What are they not doing? What are you saying? What aren't you saying? All of those factors come into play. And then when that guy grabs your door handle, for example, he's trying to pull open your door, now it's time to act. And that's where condition red is at. But again, you've pre-rehearsed it in condition yellow. You've seen the specific threat and start choosing those choices that you've already preconditioned in condition yellow. Then red is now you act upon and choose upon any of those choices that we've already looked at in condition yellow and condition orange. So it's progressive. And then what that allows me to do is it actually reduces my reaction time. So as I'm progressing and I have a plan, the reaction time gets less and less, because I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to do it, or just an absolute plan of execution if you have that pre-rehearsed, if it goes into your pre-rehearsal plans. And so from a cognitive ability standpoint, that's how you see these people. They react so fast, so swiftly, and yet do it with mostly flawless execution. It's because they've rehearsed it. It's not something that they just pull out of a bag of tricks and then go, oh, okay, we're here. So again, white we're situationally unaware. Again, we don't want to be in that perspective when we're out and about. But again, if you're in your home with those concentric rings of security, yeah, of course, white. Or if you're asleep, yeah, you can't control what you can't see or cognitively think about. Then progressing to yellow, where we're relaxed state of awareness. We're thinking about the what if thens. We're scanning our environments. Then orange, okay, we're starting to nail down, okay, this is what they're doing or what they're not doing. That's causing me to focus on them, and then start developing, okay, now I have all these pre-rehearsed plans, start selecting them and start thinking and whittling them away in condition orange. And then once condition red happens, that's where we made that fateful decision to take action, good, bad, or indifferent. So what happens? So that's the color codes according to Jeff Cooper, the late great Jeff Cooper. So what happens if you don't rehearse, or you're in that condition white, you're not situationally aware, and that threat is upon you and in your face? This is a common thing in my law enforcement career, where people ask me, they're like, I go and ask a victim that's been typically robbed, like a street robbery, and I go, what happened? And like, this guy came out of nowhere. Well, they didn't come out of nowhere unless you got robbed by a demon, and I'm sure that didn't actually happen. But that's how they start out. It's like, this guy came out of absolute nowhere. Good, thanks for joining me, John. Thanks for joining me, Clayton, Dan, Kurt. They didn't come out of nowhere. You just didn't see him coming, because typically they're in that condition white, so they're not being situationally aware, and then that threat is right upon them, and next thing you know, they see a gun stuffed in their face saying, give me your wallet or your money. And then what are they left to do? Okay, so we call this in black, again, our when we get into condition black, it is a parasympathetic nervous system. So red and black are in your parasympathetic nervous system. So you have sympathetic, which is sex rested. Let me back up. This is your sympathetic nervous system. When you're in condition white, you're in a parasympathetic nervous system. So Sympathetic nervous system is that fight, flight, or freeze, sympathetic to whatever stimulus that is happening. Your parasympathetic is your sex, rest, or digest. Okay, so that's the relaxed state that you're in, that you can procreate, that you can eat and digest your food, and then you can rest. When you're in that sympathetic, it's typically fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, the reason why all of the sex, rest, and digest gets shut down is because of all the chemical cocktail that gets pumped into your body through your hypothalamus. So the big stress hormones are adrenaline, which enhances strength and gives you the ability to move fast and lift cars and do crazy stuff like that. The next one is cortisol. So cortisol shuts down all non-essential body functions. So again, you can't rest, you can't procreate, and you can't digest. So it shuts down all of those functions. So then that's the second one. And the last one is endorphins. And what the endorphins actually do is reduce or eliminate pain receptors. So that's why you'll see like football players, typically because that's a very high impact sport. Football players, they'll break their arm and their arm's pointing in the wrong direction and they're just walking off like it's nothing. It's because of endorphins. It's because they're in that sympathetic nervous system because they want to win the game and they don't feel pain. So again, adrenaline gives you the strength. Cortisol shuts down all the non-essential functions. That's why cortisol is one of the deadliest chemicals that we have to deal with on a daily basis. When we get stressed out, typically right now we're dealing with this COVID thing, cortisol shuts down all non-essential functions. So it kills your libido from a sex point of view. The rest perspective is we're not getting rest because we're in that sympathetic nervous system. So we're not resting because we're constantly amped up. And then the last one is the digest, and that's why we gain weight when we stress out. And it's not as much as what we eat. We're not properly digesting our food because the stress hormone cortisol doesn't allow it. So now we're not actually taking in the nutrients that is in our food because the stress hormone is not allowing us to do that. So again, you have different cortisol aspects. You have the cortisol dump or the adrenaline dump, which I have a gun pointed at my face and now all of a sudden just a huge dump of chemicals gets put into your blood system, your bloodstream, or the what I call the cortisol IV bag, where cortisol just slowly drips in your system all the time because you're stressed out because of work, you're stressed out because of kids, or whatever the case may be. Thanks, Natalie, for joining me. So that's the IV bag. But understand this, if I have a Homer's bucket, the 5-gallon pickle bucket, if I pour 5 gallons in there quickly, it's going to be filled up immediately. But understand, if I have an eyedropper full of water and I eventually can fill that 5-gallon bucket. Think about this. If you're stressed out for your entire adult life, let's just call it 50 years or so, 50 years, and I spend every waking moment dropping a drop of water into that 5-gallon bucket, I'm probably going to fill more than just a 5-gallon bucket. That's what cortisol is doing to you. So I digress a little bit on the stress hormones, but understand when you get to that fight, flight, or freeze, okay, your red is typically when you have the fight or flight. You've made the decision to either fight or you've made the decision to say, you know what, the best fight is the one that I'm not involved in. And then the last one is the freeze, the absolute sheer unadulterated panic. Because if you're in that panic mode, which is in black, that's Lieutenant Colonel Grossman, who was a famous author. I got to meet him, former Army Ranger, and then a psychiatrist. What he talks about is the freeze aspect, which is black. Again, if you haven't rehearsed, mentally visualized and rehearsed what you're going to do under a stressful situation, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to perform on demand. It's not going to happen. Again, like he says on combat, he says, you don't expect the combat fairy to come and bonk you on the head and make you capable of doing things that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to visualize and do. It just won't happen. Again, you don't rise to the occasion. You typically fall to the lowest level of training. And if you have no training, then what are you falling back on? Typically nothing. And I'm telling you right now, if people really want to argue that, the great part is I have access to a multi-million-dollar simulator where I can put something as innocuous as a robbery happening to an active shooter incident on a 5-screen, 300-degree virtual simulator. And people have said, I don't need training, I'm just going to figure it out. They quickly get schooled on that. And it's not to demean or belittle. It's just to educate and illuminate that you have to have the training. You have to be able to visualize that. So in black, that's where we are. We just shut down completely. These are the people that again, the fire breaks out and it says push on it. It says pull on it, which typically nowadays due to fire code, and we'll get to that in a minute. Typically, fire code makes buildings have push bars on doors. Why? Because the first thing you do when you go to a door is push it, not pull it. So you're actually looking at it and pulling it. That's why they have fire codes. So, and it's funny because I get in this argument where people go, well, this is just it's very paranoid. You're in condition yellow, and then you go to condition red, and it's crazy. I said, well, okay, that's fine. You're looking for a fight. If you're in this world, you're looking for a fight. Okay, let's go down that logic train for a second. Let's assume that you're right, okay? Let me ask you a question. If people say you don't need a gun in the house or you don't need this kind of mindset, then do you have a fire extinguisher in your house? Where is it located? Typically where the most fires happen, which is in your kitchen. So if you have a fire extinguisher in your house, are you prepared or paranoid? Okay? Are you thinking, man, there could be a fire and I want to be able to put it out before my house burns down, or I'm looking for a fires? Okay? So that's the mindset that we have to have. I'm not looking for trouble, but if trouble finds me, I want to be able to have the plan and the mindset to either get out of that situation or find a solution that entails myself, Karen, my kiddo, my family members getting out alive and safely. Or Natalie's mentioned insurance, homeowners insurance. Are you looking for a bad thing to happen? Vehicle insurance. Are you looking to play bumper cars with somebody? It's absolutely true. So again, it's just the mindset of just being aware and just knowing what's coming and going. And you can play games on that. And you can say who was the last person that you saw, and then give the description head to toe. Again, it sounds crazy and it sounds silly, but let's focus on that first. And again, it's not Instagram sexy, it's not Facebook sexy, because it doesn't entail shooting guns or kia on a bag, but it's truly what can save our lives. Because I'm going to tell you right now, 15 years of doing this, and then Karen doing it for over 20 years, the last thing we want to do is get in a confrontation. And then especially with my kiddo, forget about it. So just think about that. And again, this is part of our Arizona concealed carry course. So this is the last portion. Again, I talk about law and legal in my Arizona concealed carry class, and then Karen gets into the safety and awareness, and this is one topic she actually teaches. So just some parting words. We're completely digital now with the Arizona concealed carry course. The links are below for my Facebook folks, or you can just go on our website and www.gtctrain.org. It's completely digital. So there's it's two parts. The first part is you do the online training, and you watch the videos and look at the PowerPoints, go through everything. Yes, it is timed. You can click through it and skip through it, but it's at your own pace. Do one lesson at a time. And then after it shows completion on my end, then what I do is I actually set up a live Zoom conference similar to this, where we're actually going back and forth and communicating with each other. We set up a live Zoom conference and go over the course, and then do a question and answer period. Again, you do not have to be a resident of Arizona to get your Arizona concealed carry permit. And then, so once you do all the two parts, then I email your certificate to you. After I email that certificate, then I mail all of the application material that's needed to obtain your Arizona concealed carry permit. So again, the envelope, the application, 4 fingerprint cards so that you can mess up on 2. And then you just throw in a $60 money order cashier's check or certified check to Arizona Department of Public Safety. Typically a week later, you get your Arizona concealed carry permit. You can take this in Maine, Florida, Washington State, California, whatever the case may be, and you gain 36 states that you can carry in once you get your Arizona concealed carry permit. So register online, sign up for that. The next one is our Guardian Online Bleeding class, a completely online bleeding control class, where you learn the techniques of how to stop large hemorrhagic bleeding by the way of use of pressure, tourniquets, how to properly call 911, and then the last one is hemostatic agents and chest seals. So again, everything is online there. due to this COVID-19, and we're going to continue doing that even past COVID-19 when we get past this. So anybody in the world can take this Guardian online bleeding control class and learn how to stop bleeding. The links are below. And then if you want private instruction, the last thing is we're doing private instruction through Zoom. A lot of people have bought, more people in this world have bought firearms than ever before, and they don't know how to use them. They don't know how to take apart a firearm, or how to clean it or maintain it. What looks good, what looks bad on it. Again, the aspect is you just want to learn how to take it apart, disassemble it, clean it, maintain it, and work on it. We can do that, a 1-hour class. Go to our website, contact us, and we'll give you the pricing and go from there. So those are your 3 options right now that we're looking at, and we're developing courses as we go right now. So if anybody has any questions, contact us. I always say, give us your problems, and we'll do the best we can to find solutions. And we'll go from there. You guys be safe. Thanks for joining me on this Fireside Chat for Mindset Monday. Have a great day. Thank you.